Chapter 2. Life of an Adventurer in a Harsh World. While receiving the payment from Freya, Hikaru asked her a number of things, including where a beginner adventurer could stay for the night. He arrived at a place she told him about. A plain, square building with only a small signboard out front. Upon entering, he spotted a small counter where he showed his adventurer's guild card. 100 gilans a night, the employee said curtly. Hikaru handed 1 silver coin, then headed to the second floor where his room was. It was massively spacious, with a wooden floor covered in a straw mat. He was apparently supposed to just sleep on the floor. There were other adventurers besides him, either young or shady-looking. No one noticed Hikaru with his stealth on. He didn't care for talking with adventurers his age. That went double for the suspicious characters. His stomach full from the noodles, Hikaru fell asleep. When he woke up the next morning, his body felt stiff all over. But sleeping indoors helped him recover his strength more than he thought. He wasn't sleepy, and his head was clear. Hikaru got up and went downstairs. Even with his stealth off, the employee didn't so much as spare him a glance. I love this place. He wanted more of the fried noodles from yesterday, but the man's food stall wasn't open yet. It was too early. His full purse put his mind at ease. Looking around the bright streets, he saw numerous food stalls, selling fruits, sandwiches, deep-fried bread, ramen-like noodles, juice. Oh, they have it here too. What drew Hikaru's attention was the hot dogs, sausage wedged into a halved blackish bread. He raised a forefinger. Hey there, kid, it's 30 gilans each. A muscular man in his late 20s, who was probably better off as an adventurer, prepared the sandwich with swift efficiency. Hikaru took a bite. The owner was eagerly watching him eat, his face asking, Well, tasty, right? Right? Hikaru's expression changed. He was expressionless, to be exact. It tastes off. The sausage was tender, the bread tough, but it wasn't that bad. The problem was the sauce. It was sweet and grassy. Why? Who's he selling this to? It's gotta be ketchup for hot dogs, Hikaru muttered as he walked away. The vendor watched him go, dumbfounded. He thought Hikaru would shout, Yummy! Like a kid or something. What's wrong with that kid? He did say something. Ketchup? Did he mean the sauce? He was deep in thought, muttering something under his breath. Since he was definitely staying in town for a while, Hikaru wandered around the streets, drawing a map in his head. He passed by the Adventurers Guild in his stroll. He peered inside. There weren't a lot of people this early. Freya was behind the counter, head plopped down on the desk. What's up with her? Is she asleep? Whatever. Shopping for gear was on top of his to-do list today. I'll check for commissions later, Hikaru thought, then turned to leave. Freya abruptly rose. Hikaru! What? She seemed to have something to say. Hikaru sensed trouble. Good morning, he greeted, then turned on his heel. There was, however, something he didn't expect. Freya flashed him a smile. Good morning to you too, Hikaru. This is not good. She's got huge knockers, sure, but man, a smile from a pretty lady is disorienting. Several people in the guild stirred. Hey, did Freya just... She smiled. She did, right? Not a forced one, but a sincere smile. Who the hell is that kid? Freya seemed to have earned herself quite the reputation. She beckoned Hikaru, paying no attention to the adventurers. He couldn't possibly leave at this point. Thank you for coming, Freya said. I thought you wouldn't come back. What? Why not? I failed to inform you about the Green Wolves. I should have done a better job as a receptionist. Oh, it's fine, though it might be better to accept commissions directly from the receptionist. You don't want adventurers just failing the commissions. I know, but there's not a lot of receptionists around. Do you know what our job is? The job of a receptionist? Adventurer registration and assessing goods. Freya beckoned him closer. He was standing 3 meters away from the counter, and now they were face to face. I really don't want to draw attention to myself, but refusing would definitely be offensive. Like you said, we assist with registration, issue guild cards, and assess the reward for completed commissions. We are also responsible for receiving commissions and answering questions about them. Right. There's no one else around to answer questions, I guess. Besides that, there's also arranging parties, identifying high-ranking adventurers and issuing emergency commissions, processing failed commissions, managing adventurers' ranks, and managing commissions on the bulletin board. All pretty straightforward, right? Are there any other staff besides receptionists? A great question. There's none. Ugh, what is this place? A toxic company. We also have to manage guild funds, and supplied goods have to be sent to the Merchants Guild. There's just too many things to do, right? Right. That's why accepting commissions is automated. The Royal Capital's branch has more manpower, so they can afford to actually have someone be in charge of it. I see. I understand now. But that doesn't change the fact that you were in danger. It's really fine. Honestly, I don't think I can handle any more apologies. And those adventurers are staring daggers at me. Why are you so hung up on it anyway? Hikaru asked. I've seen how you treat the other adventurers. You're, how do I put it? Indifferent. They mentioned something about forced smiles earlier. She was definitely friendly, but Hikaru felt like she was a little too nice to him. Really? Maybe it's because you're genuine? Genuine? The others are a little scary. Oh. Getting swarmed by adventurers every single day would definitely make her scared of them. But you chose this job anyway, right? Yeah. Dark clouds seemed to hang over Freya. Did I say something wrong? Hikaru asked. Usually I can handle it. Usually? So things are unusual right now? We actually have 4 receptionists. 4? Where are the other 3 then? One went on a business trip with the guild's submaster to the Royal Capital. The other is on her yearly home leave, and the last one's been sick since yesterday. Oh, so that's why you had your head down on the counter. You're exhausted. Take it easy now. Not that my saying that changes anything. You're too kind. Freya became a little teary-eyed. But you're a civilian too, so don't push yourself too hard, okay? My shift ends at noon today. I'll find you a good commission tomorrow. What? There are lots of commissions out there that might seem attractive to a fledgling adventurer, but look like bait to a professional receptionist like me. Oh, I appreciate the help then. You better, Freya smiled. Does she think of me as a younger brother or something? I can't tell. Hikaru could only guess, as he didn't know much about her. He had no way of knowing how important genuine adventurers were to Freya. I'll come back some other time then, Hikaru said. No, wait. Is something wrong? I heard something while strolling around downtown. Some big shot was murdered, I think. Does the Adventurers Guild have anything to do with it? Freya's eyes widened. That news is super top secret. Only a few people know. Where did you hear about it? Oh, crap. I didn't know it was top secret. News of Count Morgstadt's death was being suppressed a lot more than he expected. I heard it while I was wandering around starving, so my memories are a bit fuzzy. You said it's top secret, but you know about it too. Does that mean an adventurer was involved? It couldn't have been an adventurer. Oh, she sounds pretty sure. They came to the guild for an inquiry, asking us to check if there's an adventurer with a powerful assassination blessing. Huh, so you help with investigations too. Yeah. The dark clouds around her grew thicker. In other words, I only know about it through sheer coincidence. It looked like they weren't expecting much from the inquiry anyway. Wait, I've said too much. Freya raised a hand to her mouth. Don't tell anyone about this, okay? Got it. So they don't suspect me. Good. Don't poke your nose where it doesn't belong now, Freya said with the air of a senior. That's the adventurer's ironclad rule. Hikaru couldn't possibly tell her that he didn't just poke his nose, he was the culprit himself. After leaving the guild, Hikaru bought daily necessities, spare underwear, soap, a hand towel, a toothbrush, magic flint, a rope, and a knapsack to put them all in. He spent a total of 500 galans. Armor. Oh, here we are. He wanted to get out of Roland's clothes, so he decided to buy clothes and armor first. Freya told him about this place earlier. Dodorono's Armor Workshop. Dodorono was the name of the owner. It was common in this world to incorporate the craftsman's name in the name of their shop. Wow. As soon as he stepped in, Hikaru was stunned. The clothes on the wooden mannequins were all fancy and frilled. There were even gothic Lolita outfits. I'm sure the owner is someone with refined tastes. "Welcome!" A deep, thick voice came from within. "Thanks for coming to me workshop." A dwarf. A male dwarf with a long, frizzy, braided beard. It's a dwarf, known for their smithing skills, beings that sing hey-ho while drinking booze. So why is this one in the clothing business? I know what you're thinking. How can a dwarf be so... No, I wasn't. Out with it, lad. Dodorono stomped his foot, then smiled. How can a dwarf be so fashionable? Aren't you the honest lad? I like an honest folk, What an extremely positive guy. Hikaru told Dodorono his budget, and the dwarf picked an outfit for him. Looks good on you. Okay. Goo-ha-ha-ha. How do you like me fashion sense? Anyway, thank you very much. Hey, answer the question. After paying, Hikaru left Dodorono's armor workshop. At first he thought, the name says armor, but all you have are fancy clothes. But apparently they were made with raw materials from monsters and were way tougher than iron-made armor. Following Dodorono's recommendation, he bought and donned the following. A nightwolf coat, an overall made with the jet-black hide of a nightwolf. Quite tough, yet light. Helps conceal the wearer's presence from others, but its pitch-black color makes it too stuffy under direct sunlight. Nightwolf boots, same as above. Silver threads are used for its laces, a trademark of Dodorono's fashion style. A cloak, made of cloth, made to repel direct sunlight. Hooded. Including size adjustments, he paid a total of 9,500 galons. Hikaru found it quite expensive, but it was actually a steal. Dodorono's skills were top-notch, but the prejudice about dwarves being blacksmiths prevented his store from flourishing. So he bought cheap materials and sold his goods at a discount to new adventurers. Even then, these new adventurers eventually moved on to other shops because of their prejudice once they were making enough money. They grow up so fast, Dodorono was smiling, but there was a note of sadness in his voice. Hikaru folded Roland's clothes and placed them inside a knapsack. He then left the store, found a place to burn garbage, and set the clothes on fire there. It felt like a waste, but there was a chance that Morgstadt's murder would be traced back to him if he kept wearing them. With his stealth on, people from the neighborhood did not notice him. Now he was completely free of Roland. All that remained with him was his body. Hikaru then went straight to a blacksmith so he could buy weapons. They were crucial for self-defense, but he also thought that as an adventurer, he had to have a weapon. He was a young man indeed. He arrived at a place called Lennywood's Weapon Workshop. Smoke was billowing from its chimney. Hikaru stepped into the shop. Swords filled the walls. Metal armors stood on display. Wooden swords that looked like what people sold in Kyoto were in a corner on sale. "Welcome! I've never seen you around before." A dashing fellow appeared, and Hikaru froze on the spot. Again. "Smithing is art, and art is strength," he declared, rolling up his sleeves. He was skinny. In fact, he was a male elf, with pointy ears and all that. Blonde hair, green eyes. "I don't discriminate against young customers. What do you think of this claymore? Isn't it just a wonder to look at? It actually has a special effect." "A special effect, huh?" Hikaru studied the claymore hanging on the wall. A two-handed sword with a blade about 1 meter long. He couldn't use it, but it must be quite the weapon if it had a special effect. "It boosts spirit magic." Hikaru almost blurted out a what? Spirit magic? But aren't swords used for physical attacks? "Next we have this steel longbow. This one also comes with a special effect." He puffed out his chest. "Cold wind blows after you shoot an arrow." Pointless, or rather, meaningless. "I know what you're thinking," the elf said. "I can see it in your face. Why? What's it for?" I'm not really thinking that... Perhaps there was some very important point to the special effect. It didn't sound like it, though. "Listen closely. You see, after shooting an arrow, it gets cold." I knew it was meaningless. Why did I even think that maybe the arrow would have some kind of special effect? "Your outfit. You got that from Dodorono, yeah?" Yes." The elf's expression suddenly turned serious. "I see. You're here through Freya's referral. Then I must give you something decent. I'm Lennywood Mal Ivora. What's your name? Hikaru. Hikaru it is! I got something nice here for you. Just like with Dodorono, Lennywood picked a weapon for him. Dagger of Strength, 5,000 gilins. A dagger preferred by agile people. For some reason, it had the effect of increasing one's arm strength. With a length of 25 centimeters, it looked more like a knife handy for everyday use rather than a dagger for killing. Hikaru chose the weapon as it was easy for him to get close with his stealth. He wanted a weapon that would prove mighty in short range. Also, his budget was tight. The other weapons cost over 10,000 gilins. Just like that, he was down to 4,860 gilins in just one day. But now I'm fully equipped. It's time for an adventure. The Adventurers Guild's counter, a place where beautiful ladies greeted adventurers. Tilda? Well, aren't we in a good mood? A lady in a receptionist uniform smiled as she watched Freya do her work swiftly, accepting quests and drafting reports. She had long purple hair tied to both sides that cascaded down her chest. Her slanted eyes opened slightly as she spoke in a soft voice. Her name was Gloria. With her 2 large bosoms, she was known as the best soothing receptionist among the adventurers. It is to be noted that there is no criterion for breast size in hiring receptionists for the guild. These 2 women just happened to be endowed. Sorry, was I bothering you? Of course not. I'm still recovering, so I'm just a little envious. Gloria held her cheeks and heaved a sigh. The adventurers were astir. Is Gloria okay? Is she not feeling well? Are you fine now? I was worried about you. Freya put on a diplomatic smile. Freya wasn't comfortable around Gloria. She could sometimes glimpse malice behind her gentle voice whenever they were talking. Freya's hunch was always right on the mark, so there was no doubt about it. Not that Gloria ever meant harm to Freya. Gloria herself was highly capable, so there was never any problem with her work. I heard there's an adventurer you're enamored with, Gloria said. What? It's not like that. What kind of an adventurer are they? The adventurers stirred again. What? Did Freya get a boyfriend? Hell no, probably just a guy hitting on her. I heard there's a guy that made her smile. A genuine smile. What? Stop, please stop, Freya cried deep inside. I don't have any feelings for Hikaru. So his name is Hikaru, Gloria said. Ah! Freya had dug herself a hole. She was indeed relieved that Hikaru dropped by the guild today. She cared about the boy who didn't really possess any talent or powerful blessings. As for his looks, Freya thought he was cute, though he didn't stand out much. He was diligent and honest when it came to commissions. Her overall assessment was, he was the kind of adventurer rarely seen these days. Freya was thinking how much fun her job would be if there were more adventurers like him. So yes, Gloria was right. Anyway, I'm almost done with my shift. Bye. Freya bowed and hurried away from the counter, her ears red. Gloria saw Freya off with a smile, but that smile was now gone. Behind her slightly parted eyelids, her purple eyes glinted sharply. Freya sure is enthusiastic. There were also adventurers who watched Freya go bitterly. Adventurers who were gunning for her affection. Hikaru, oblivious to what had transpired at the guild's counter, headed to the guild after a quick lunch at a food stall. He had changed his outfit, so he could have gone into a restaurant instead, but he had taken a liking to street food. Today's lunch was some mix between a quiche and okonomiyaki. An unfamiliar woman was at the counter, though just like with Freya, adventurers also surrounded her. What's the guild up to gathering pretty ladies? Hikaru wondered. Is there some kind of a statistic that shows there's a high survival rate for adventurers if the receptionist is beautiful? Freya said there was so much work, but because the pay is really good, the job attracts pretty women? Is that it? Nonetheless, Hikaru was relieved Freya wasn't around. She looked completely exhausted. She should have plenty of time to rest in the afternoon. Since Freya wasn't around, Hikaru assumed no one would call for him. He went straight to the bulletin board. The commissions were separated by fields: plant hunter, monster hunter, etc. The category with the fewer commissions was bodyguard, although most of them required 10 or more adventurers. There weren't a lot of quests that a rank G adventurer could take. I think it's still hard for me to get involved in fights. He scanned the board and found jobs like cleaning or shopping. I should be able to do these. The rewards are more like tips, though. Are you looking for commissions? The purple-haired woman from the counter was standing next to him. She smelled sweet. Why is she talking to me? Then he realized that Gloria was carrying a bunch of commission forms. He concluded that she was here to post new commissions, not talk to him. Makes sense. She doesn't know me, after all. Hikaru understood, but the adventurers did not. Hey, why is Gloria talking to that dude? Isn't he the guy that made Freya cry? I heard he threatens Freya so she'd sleep with him every night. Ridiculous statements were flying about. Gloria looked puzzled. She spoke to the boy who she assumed was Hikaru, the one on Freya's mind, and yet she didn't feel anything special from him. So she decided to do some probing. I have a commission here that might be right up your alley, Gloria said. What's your rank? Hikaru showed his guild card, confirming Gloria's guess. So his name really is Hikaru, no family name, so he can't be a noble. It was not uncommon for adventurers to not have family names. There were plenty of ordinary citizens with family names, but for orphans or those who'd left their home, their family names did not show up in their soul's records. He's neither a noble nor someone wealthy. In that case, it's his blessing? Just ever so slightly, Gloria's soft eyebrows drew together in a frown. The blessing displayed on his guild card was Metropolitan Residents, Townspeople, and Villagers' Relief God, Civilian. He was just an ordinary guy. Mr. Hikaru, she said, what other blessings do you have besides Civilian? Young boys like to show off. If he had a unique blessing, he would select it, especially if a pretty lady like her talked to him. He would want to brag. Such was the nature of men. I'm not sure I understand your question, the boy replied. I'm a guild staff, so please tell me. Freya knows too, right? I have no other blessing, he insisted, shaking his head. No other blessing? Only Civilian? No. Freya must have told him to hide it. She got the jump on me. Hiding it only made Gloria more curious. Perhaps he had an extraordinary 4-character blessing for a rookie, or a 3-character one. No, 3 characters was too much. In that case, I should make him like me, not Freya. How about this commission? Gloria said, presenting a piece of paper. It's just a delivery, so it won't take long. It's perfect for a civilian like you. Really? Hikaru studied the commission form. Not bad. Looks like I can get it done by the end of the day. All right. Please wait inside the booth so I can give you the details. Gloria led the way with a dark smile. After accepting the delivery quest, Hikaru left the guild. Quest Hunter. Delivery. Deliver a letter to Kellbeck, an artificer living in Pond. Reward. 200 Gilans. Gloria showed Hikaru a map of Pond to guide him to the delivery address. Since maps were expensive, and what the guild had was special-made and detailed, they couldn't lend it to others. Now that he thought about it, the map in the archives was simple. That lady seemed to be up to something, Hikaru mumbled. There were moments when Gloria had a cold look in her eyes, as though she could see right through him. She thought she was hiding it well, but Hikaru's senses were currently sharp. He could sense hostiles easily. A simple-minded adventurer might be fooled, but not him. Hikaru felt sorry for Freya for having to work with her. She seemed to get the short end of the stick a lot. Left turn at this intersection. Hikaru followed the route Gloria told him about. Unless something serious was going down, he knew better than to use stealth when walking through town. People would bump into him if he had it on. Pond was a mid-sized town in the kingdom of Ponsonia, the kingdom where Roland lived his life as a noble. It had a population of about 6,000 and was located next to the kingdom's royal capital, G. Ponsonia. The town served as a distribution center for the capital, earning it the nicknames Royal Capital's Leftovers, and the place where everything is inferior. But a different perspective would say that it was a nice, orderly town where the necessary stores were all within reach. Now then, this is a good chance to test out the effectiveness of my stealth. Hikaru couldn't do it yesterday as he was starving, so he opted to test it today while he was on his way to work on a commission. First, let's turn it off. Hey there, kid. Would you like to buy some fruits? As expected, a man behind his food stall called out to him, as he did with ordinary citizens. Next, Hikaru turned on life cloaking and mana cloaking. The results were a bit unexpected. Hello there, laddie. How about flowers for your mother? Life cloaking and mana cloaking both barely had any effect. After thinking about it for a while, he arrived at an obvious conclusion. These two skills were used to hide oneself from life detection and mana detection skills. Unless there was someone with these detection skills, using cloaking skills were pretty much pointless. What was impressive, however, was imperceptibility. Passing in front of people didn't draw their attention. He elicited some reaction when he waved both his hands or clapped to make a sound. How long have you been standing there, kid? Once he was noticed, the skill's effects weakened. But if they turned away for even an instant, they would lose sight of him again. What? Where'd he go? Maybe it's less me affecting others and more like a curtain appears that hides me. An active camouflage and noise canceller. Incredible. Imperceptibility had 6 different levels, from off to 1, 2, and all the way to 5. Is there even a point in setting it to level 1? Well, whatever. But that wasn't all. There was still something even more incredible. The divine buff from the selected blessing. The moment Hikaru selected Stealth God, Bearer of Darkness 2, people seemed to act like he didn't exist. Waving his hands in front of them or clapping close to their ears did nothing to draw their attention. I'm like invisible or something. But sneaking into the women's bath or burgling still wouldn't be easy. Hikaru had realized that his stealth had a weakness. Traps, similar to those found in dungeons which incidentally existed in this world. There would definitely be anti-burglar traps set around mansions. He could hide himself from others, but he couldn't disable traps. Sneaking into a women's bath might be possible, but there weren't any public baths in this kingdom. With the climate being warm all year, nobles and millionaires pretty much only had saunas in their homes. Maybe, just maybe, I got myself something extraordinary. With his stealth plus blessing combo, there would barely be any risk to his life. Though there was still the possibility of bumping into others if they couldn't see him. I can't be too cocky. After all, I died in an accident. He just had to focus. Once couldn't be too careful. Next, I need to check out the soul board. Hikaru felt that he needed to do more research on the soul board. Was it just used to put points on skills? Or did it have a different use case? Hello, mister. By pure coincidence, Hikaru came across the girl who gave him directions to the guild. He was surprised, as he didn't expect to see her again. He thought this was some kind of fate, like someone was telling him to test the soul board. Hikaru summoned his soul board. Can you see this? He asked. Is there something there? The girl asked back. She couldn't see it. He moved his hand away, and the board just stayed there, floating in the air. He tried lifting it and swinging it around, but to no avail. He wasn't using his stealth either, of course, so others can't see it, huh? Suddenly, Hikaru felt something from deep within the young girl's core. He tried focusing on it. Soul board. Rana Valcon age, 4 vertical bar rank, 4... What? He could see it. Hikaru could see someone else's soul board. He didn't expect this. Mister? Give me a sec. I need to calm down. Hikaru moved away from the girl about 5 meters, and the soul board disappeared. What's your name? He asked. Why do you ask? She was being extremely cautious. I asked you the way to the guild before. I made it there and got myself a guild card. I wanted to say thanks, and I thought it would be rude not to know your name. My name's Rana. Aha, so that really was her soul board. I see, thank you. Here's something to show my gratitude. He handed her a silver coin. Wow, so pretty. Money? She was elated. I'm sorry, this is for science. Hikaru opened her soul board again. Unlock soul board, consume 1 point. Yes. Yes, what? It's nothing. The vitality screen was unlocked. Vitality. Natural recovery. 0, stamina. 0, immunity. Perception. Her total points had gone down by 1, so not only can I see other people's soul boards, I can spend their points as well. Hikaru shuddered. He had full access to everyone's skill trees. His stealth alone was a powerful skill. What if he searched for trustworthy allies and put points on their magical abilities or sword skills? Nah, it can't be that easy. Hikaru quickly collected himself. Points spent couldn't be recovered. There was the possibility of his ally turning into an enemy. He could not spend other people's points unless they were someone he could really trust, someone he could share his secret with. "Thanks for everything, Rana," Hikaru said. "If you're ever in trouble, I'll be there to help you." Though he felt it was not enough as an apology for using up her points, he gave her 1 more silver coin anyway. The girl went home ecstatic. "Now then," Hikaru resumed walking, "there's one more thing." When he summoned his own soul board earlier, he noticed something. He hadn't checked it since he first spent his points, so he only saw it now. Soul board. Hikaru age. 15 vertical bar rank, 4 vertical bar 4. His points had increased. It definitely has something to do with this. There was one thing different from last time. The number below the rank field was now 4. When did I gain ranks? If I recall correctly, you only gain ranks when you kill a monster. Hikaru couldn't recall killing any monsters. He picked some poisonous herbs, but he didn't kill them. He did, however, kill a human being. Wait a sec. A monster was defined as a creature that brought harm to humans, a very vague definition. What if it's not about killing monsters specifically, but killing living things that are powerful to some degree? In short, he gained ranks by killing Count Morgstadt. He was honestly thankful for the points, but he had mixed feelings about gaining them through murder. He needed time to think before spending them. I think it's this way. Following the route Gloria told him about, Hikaru wound up at a place with an irrigation canal. As he climbed down a crumbling set of stairs, his nose caught a rank smell that hung thick in the air. This looks like it. He spotted an underground tunnel that ran along the canal, the sewer systems. Sounds of flapping wings came from within. Bats, probably. Hikaru activated his stealth, and the bats and rats inside the tunnel calmed down. I hope I don't get some weird disease from those things. I doubt the viruses in this world are the same as those on Earth. Though he had his stealth and blessing on, he proceeded cautiously. The water flowing down the sewers wasn't that filthy, but the stench was unbearable. Hikaru searched Roland's knowledge. Every major city had sewers. Any sorts of excrement and sewage were gathered in one spot underground, where monsters called chaos slimes absorbed the filth, purifying the water. As a byproduct, these monsters released niter and compost that merchants would regularly collect. So this water is from the chaos slimes. Hikaru proceeded through a poorly made walkway by the sewer. Stones had crumbled in places, exposing the bare dirt underneath. It was getting darker. He contemplated whether to use the small lamp he bought this morning. Would using a light in this darkness expose him even with his stealth on? Light could easily extend to places beyond one's reach. He didn't think he could expand the range of his stealth that far. I'll just go as far as I can. Steeling himself, he continued on slowly. So who the hell is this Kellbeck guy to be living in a place like this? He's an artificer, so I'm guessing he makes magic items. Suddenly he heard voices. The bats stirred. So yeah, for real. Sounds like an easy job. Hikaru looked over his shoulder and spotted 2 men carrying a lamp coming from behind him. Is that Kellbeck? They didn't look friendly. The scars on their cheeks marked them clearly as thugs. He hurried on. There was a section along the way where the wall had collapsed, about 3 meters deep. Hide and let them pass first, or go onward? He thought about it for a bit, then chose to hide. It was an expected choice for him. Stepping on the dirt, he entered the hollow area. He crouched down and held his breath. So you met the client? He was like another job well done. Stealing would be a lot easier. Hey, killing is not allowed. I know that. The boss hates bloodshed. That's not it. The authorities will step in if someone's killed. Are you sure? The boss. What's wrong? The pair stopped in their tracks near Hikaru. These footprints look small. There were footprints left on the mud. Hikaru learned that there was no point in using stealth if the user was going to leave traces of them behind. There's more orphans in Pond recently. They might have wandered in the sewers. You're probably right. They concluded that the footprints were left by orphans, an expected outcome. Hikaru was testing if he could hide his tracks as well. A lamp would most likely give him away. Light reached far and reflected all over the place. Let's go. We don't want to make Kellbeck wait. Yeah, the boss man can get really scary. They passed by Hikaru, not noticing him at all. He mentioned Kellbeck just now. Hikaru followed the men. This time he paid careful attention to his footsteps. In one section of the sewers was a residential area away from the eyes of the authorities. It was hardly a great environment to live in, of course. The outside smelled of sewage, and there was no sunlight all year round. But it was warm in the winter, and proper indoor ventilation kept the stench out. Above all, it was a great place to devise plots that you couldn't talk about in the open. You're 5 minutes late. Sorry, this guy just had to go hit on some girls. What? Why would you snitch on your boy? Shut up, you're both responsible. A man who clearly didn't give a damn about manners was perched on a chair, his legs outstretched on a fine table that seemed out of place in such a setting. Red, flame-like tattoos ran from his forehead to his right cheek, to the back of his neck and down to his body. The men that Hikaru followed were standing before him.
Well, you did okay on your job,
the man said. Relief appeared on the men's faces.
We'll be leaving then. 8. Make sure you work hard.
After showing them both to the door, the man with the red tattoo turned and froze.
Hello?
There shouldn't be anyone else in the room, and yet a boy was sitting on his desk. Who the hell are you? Oops, no violence, please. I'm not here to pick a fight. The boy carried himself like a complete amateur. The man didn't think he had any sort of martial arts training, though he was wearing some decent gear. The man brandished his dagger warily. Where'd you come from? I'm here for a delivery. The boy presented something. Huh? Is that a letter? For a moment, the man thought it could be some sort of a magic scroll disguised as a letter. No way. If the boy could use magic, he could just blow him up right there and then.
You don't want it? I'd really appreciate it if you take it.
The boy looked legitimately distressed. The man felt stupid for being completely on guard around him. Tisk. Sheathing his dagger, he strode toward the boy and snatched the letter from his hand. Ah, it's from the Adventurers Guild. Yes, I see. After skimming through the letter, the man turned his attention back to the boy.
Let's have a talk.
You want to know how I got in here?
Good, that'll save us both some time. Take a seat.
He pointed at a chair beside the table.
What's in it for me?
I'll tell the Adventurers Guild one of their guys trespassed into my place. Well, I don't want to get in trouble, but that only applies to a typical residence. Just shut up and take a seat. The boy sat down. What's your name? Hikaru. You're Kellbeck, right? That's right. Kellbeck had short-trimmed red hair with features that painted him as a veteran mercenary. As such, kids would normally tremble before him and wet their pants when he shot them a glare. But this boy was different.
So, who let you in here?
Huh? No one.
What?
Kellbeck stood up, left the room to check something, and came back. It looks like you're telling the truth. You'd have to get through 3 rooms before getting here. I have lookouts stationed in each room. Really? You didn't notice? Every room has a lookout. I'm actually quite the big shot, so I have to protect myself. Not one of them noticed you, though. How? Just lucky, I guess. Bullshit. Kellbeck was getting more and more uneasy. He was face to face with a strange kid who said he came here for an errand from the Adventurers Guild. Going by the contents of the letter, he was most likely telling the truth. Normally, someone from the guild would be questioned at the entrance by his men. If they were a suspicious fellow, they'd ask the guild for information. Actually, they'd still do the same even if they were not suspicious. Yet this boy just waltzed right in. It was then that Kellbeck noticed the boy's outfit. I see. It's your gear, isn't it? You're wearing clothes made out of raw materials from night wolves, the evolved form of ordinary wolves. Yeah, they're perfect for concealing your presence." Hikaru's eyebrow twitched. "Looks like I hit the mark," Kelbeck thought. Of course, he never imagined that the boy was a master of concealing his presence completely. "It's decent gear, but there's more to you than that. There's something inside you. You don't cower before me. You've got the spunk. Thank you. Can you please sign?" The boy casually presented the commission form. Kelbeck took it with a click of his tongue. He then signed it, took out a card from his pocket, a soul card issued by a temple, and pressed it against the commission from verifying his identity. The paper glowed faintly, and the delivery was now complete.
Bye. Hold it right there. What do you think I am?"
"An artificer." Hikaru paused and flashed a grin. "Is your designation, but you're actually a leader of an underground organization." Kelbeck fell silent, because he was right.
"Not that I care,"
the boy added. Kelbeck snorted. "Think you're hot shit, huh? For the record, on the surface, we're called the Thieves Guild, though we don't target the poor." "I suppose not. Otherwise, you'd have attacked me already and asked questions later. If you're ever in trouble, just bring up my name and I'll help you out. Not for free, of course. It's called give and take. You should pray I don't cause trouble for the Thieves Guild."
"Big words."
Hikaru left the room.
"Creepy kid,"
Kelbeck mumbled, "but he's got potential." It was a simple errand, but doing various tests on the way consumed quite a lot of time. The sun was already setting. The sky was turning dark red. When Hikaru returned to the guild, there weren't a lot of adventurers around. There wasn't anyone back when he delivered the poisonous herbs, too, but that was because it was already closing time. Right now, there was still a little less than an hour before sunset, yet there were only a few adventurers present. Hikaru learned the reason immediately.
"There you go. All done. You should head home early and get some rest, okay?"
"Are you free after this? How about
You should head home early and get some rest, okay?
No, wait. Let's go out for You should head home early and get some rest, okay?" "Okay." Gloria kept repeating the exact same words with a radiant smile. The adventurers didn't feel like staying after going through that kind of exchange, so they quickly dispersed. It was impressive how she made it seem like she cared about them. Adventurers were returning from their commissions, and Gloria processed them all skillfully and efficiently. She was quick in assessing materials as well. Hikaru made it to the front of the line in no time at all. "Next, huh?" As soon as Gloria saw Hikaru, her eyes grew wide. It was getting dark outside, and the Adventurers Guild was closing for the day. Gloria was pulling down the shutters, deep in thought. "Kelbeck is a big shot in the Thieves Guild. He's like the head of the pond branch. There's no way he could get to him that easily. Even if he was there for an errand from the Adventurers Guild, the moment he stepped into the sewers, Kelbeck's men would have taken him into custody. Once Hikaru was detained, the Thieves Guild would inquire with the Adventurers Guild for information. Enter Gloria. In the Adventurers Guild's pond branch, a guild receptionist could act as a representative in negotiations. After being saved by Gloria from the Thieves Guild, Hikaru would owe her a debt of gratitude. Then she could get all sorts of information out of him. That was her plan. How did he meet Kelbeck? When I ask him, he just gives me vague answers. He simply said, "I just met him normally." I'm getting more and more curious. Gloria's mouth secretly curved into a smile. A dark one. The reward for the delivery to Kelbeck was 200 gilons. A reasonable amount, considering it would have only taken 30 minutes to get there and back inefficient. That was Hikaru's conclusion. Even in RPGs, it was normal for delivery quests to have awful rewards. You could earn more coin efficiently by taking recurring commissions and boss kill quests. Now the question is, what do I do once I earn more? Hikaru flopped down on the floor of the same inn he stayed at last night. He could have forked out more and stayed in a better inn, but he wanted to save. He currently had 4,890 gilons left. First, I need to save a huge sum so I can live a comfortable life in this world. Second, look for ways to return to my world. Third, immerse myself in a hobby. But I don't really have one. Hikaru loved reading books. He played video games as well and liked studying. He wasn't bad at sports, but he didn't care much for it. Try as he might, he didn't have the ability to become the best. So he thought it was inefficient to bust his chops for clubs that required some level of tenacity. There's more to the world than just efficiency. Then again, there's really nothing else I want to do. That's it. I just have to find something I want to do. I should see what they have here in this world, see the world, and then decide what to do. The thought of going on a journey of self-discovery made him uncharacteristically excited. This was not a world where you could easily find out what was sold in stores on the other side of the world via the internet. The idea of touring such a world was thrilling, and for that, I need money, funds. It's all about efficiency, from going on an epic adventure back to efficiency. If I want to be efficient, I need to make better use of the soul board. His experiments with stealth concluded today. He had a better grasp of its utility now. Although nerve-wracking, his infiltration into Kell's office was a success, though he failed to notice the lookouts. Put in another way, he could hide, but couldn't detect. Detection skill, huh? There was something like a perception on the board's first window. He summoned his soul board, vitality, natural recovery, 0, stamina, 0, immunity, perception. Hikaru surmised that unlocking perception would reveal smell or hearing fields, although just 1 point on imperceptibility applied to all the senses. Well, you can improve your sense of skill for other purposes besides just detecting people. I can understand why just 1 point in imperceptibility applies to all senses. Its only use is to not get detected by others, after all. Hikaru assumed that every point was equal all across the board. Therefore, improving my perception would be inefficient. He had 4 points available. He used the soul board to study each stat. Immunity and perception, fields that needed to be unlocked first, both had the same description, immunity. Unlock skills related to immunity, perception. Unlock skills related to perception. So first, he checked every item with the number 0, skills he could already allocate points on, natural recovery. Enhances the ability to heal external wounds. Max, 20. Stamina. Enhance ability to sustain prolonged physical effort and recover from fatigue. Max, 20. Mana capacity. Increases total mana, the resource expended when casting a magic spell. Max, 30. Muscle strength. Increase strength of the muscles. Max, 30. Power burst. Enhance ability to exert strength in an instant. Max, 15. Flexibility. Make the body, especially the joints, more flexible. Max, 10, balance. Improve sensation of the torso. Max, 20. What surprised Hikaru was the maximum points allowed. Skills under stealth required 5 points max. Assassination only required 3, but the ones he checked now required 10 or 30 points to get maxed. So what? They're divided into primary attributes and the actual applications. The stats that didn't need to be unlocked required more points to max. They all had something to do with basic attributes of a living being. What would happen if I put 30 points in strength? Maybe I can crush a boulder with my bare hands or lift a whole house. Yeah, right. Hikaru paused. It's certainly possible. He already witnessed the effects of his stealth. What kind of power would he obtain if he poured 30 whole points to an attribute? Let's forget that for now. There are 3 boards left unlocked: the pentagon, hexagon, and the unlabeled one. So far, he had unlocked vitality, magical power, strength, and agility. If we go by game mechanics, I guess next would be willpower, faith, charisma, and dexterity. If I want to be efficient, first I have to know. I can't achieve efficiency without information, but if I unlocked all 3, I'd be left with 1 point. It's inefficient to have only 1 point to allocate. I should unlock only 1. He chose the unlabeled board. I really want to know what's in this unlabeled board. My curiosity is killing me. Unlock soul board, consume 1 point. Yes. What emerged on the screen was instinct, 0, insight, intelligence, memory, 0, detection, instinct, it's instinct. Heighten one's senses to obtain revelation close to foresight. Max, 20, memory. Improves the function of the part of the brain that governs memories. Max, 10. And there's detection as expected. I don't like how I have to unlock it first. Now what? I have 3 points left. Let's think about this. Hikaru stared at the soul board for a while, then lay down and closed his eyes. Sleep came fast. I bet people call you arrogant. The light of the bright afternoon was blinding even behind the white curtains. A girl, 1 year older than Hikaru, stood there with her back against the light, smiling. Life will be rough for you. You may be clever, but you're also reckless. Someday, somewhere, you might just suddenly die. She was beautiful and intelligent, with long black hair. I appreciate the disturbing divination. He wouldn't listen to the words of adults or his other seniors, but Hikaru readily paid attention to what she had to say. The name of the girl was Hazuki. Hikaru put on a cynical smile, one that ended up childish. When Hikaru opened his eyes, the sun was just starting to climb. Faint light was spilling in through the shoddy window. A dream. He woke up in a corner of the inn's large room. This wasn't Japan. It was a different world. He let out one long breath. He hadn't had a dream ever since coming to this world. And when he finally did, it wasn't about his parents or the high school he went to. It was a dream about his senior whom he had not seen for 2 years. Hikaru didn't care about his parents. That's why his guild card didn't show his family name, and he just accepted it without question. His only comment on the fact his card didn't have his family name was a short grunt. Why'd I have that dream? Hikaru was indeed arrogant. Despite only studying during his spare time, he was among the top 5 students in his grade. He didn't mean to mock those around him as a result, but it was true that he didn't want to deal with idiots. That part of him might have revealed itself. Someday, somewhere, you might just die suddenly, huh? In an ironic twist of fate, Hikaru died just like how Hazuki described it. It was only sheer chance that he came back to life. Just extremely lucky. There's no guarantee something like that won't happen in this world. All right, I think I got it. Hikaru summoned the soul board and unlocked detection. Detection. Life detection. 0, mana detection. 0, life detection. Detect life in the vicinity. Max. 5, mana detection. Detect beings in the vicinity through mana. Max. 5. Hikaru allocated 1 point to each, leaving him with 0 points. Soul board. Hikaru age. 15 vertical bar rank. 4 vertical bar 0, vitality. Magical power. Strength. Agility. Stealth. Life cloaking. 1, mana cloaking. 1, imperceptibility. 5, assassination. 3, max. Instinct. Detection. Life detection. 1, mana detection. 1. There wasn't any explanation as to how to activate his detection skills, but he felt a new sense in his body, similar to his hearing, sense of smell, and touch. Oh. By focusing on it, he felt the effect of the detection all around him. He could sense the life coming from the young adventurers sleeping in the center of the room. It was like a soft orange light. He switched to mana detection. The switch was intuitive, and he sensed soft blue light instead. The energy he felt from the warrior-looking man when he was using his life detection was gone when he switched to mana detection. So he doesn't have much magical power? Wait a second. I don't detect life force, but life. Then it hit him. With life detection, size didn't matter. As long as it had mass, he could sense even a small insect if he really focused. The only downside was that it functioned just like the human eye. That is to say, he could see large living things, but he couldn't see those that were too tiny, like microbes. On the other hand, mana detection was affected by the amount of mana one had. He could feel even the smallest bug if it had plenty of magical power. Both of these detection skills could sense a person in the dark or behind a wall, but were pointless in broad daylight. What would happen if I added more points to them? Maybe the range increases, or I can pierce through more powerful cloaking skills. The max range of his detection was currently 10 meters. Now this is efficient. Well, not really, but I have to prioritize not dying. After getting ready, Hikaru left the room. A random thought crossed his mind. Does Hazuki-senpai know I died? For breakfast, Hikaru went to the same hot dog stand as yesterday. It wasn't as if he liked the food, but the owner kept staring at him. That, and a different aroma from yesterday, was wafting in the air. On a side note, he had dinner at the fried noodles place last night. Freshly cooked noodles was even more delicious. The man remembered Hikaru, so he gave him extra. He almost didn't finish it all. The hot dog sauce was different from yesterday. This time it was brown. What's this? It's not sweet like yesterday. It smells fishy. Honestly, it tastes horrible, Hikaru blurted. The vendor ground his teeth. Did you taste it? What did you put on this thing? Hikaru asked. It's special-made sauce with fish sauce as base. Fish sauce? You gotta have ketchup and mustard for hot dogs. That's textbook stuff. The man had no idea what ketchup and mustard were, so Hikaru told him. He knew how ketchup was made, but not mustard. He could only tell him what it looked like, the color, and how it tasted. Annoyed at the fishy taste in his mouth, Hikaru entered the Adventurers Guild. As soon as he stepped inside, he felt numerous gazes on him. Hey, it's that kid. The brat who gets special treatment not only from Freya but also from Gloria. Hikaru had no time to deal with them. As to why. Hikaru, are you okay? Freya came running to him from behind the counter. What's up? She grabbed his hands. Come with me. I need to talk to you. Her soft and warm hand drove Hikaru crazy. She was too close that he could smell a delightful fragrance drifting from her. The adventurers whined as they watched Freya pull him by the hand. Hikaru felt the same as well. What's going on? When it came to women, the only one Hikaru actually talked to back in Japan was Hazuki. Freya dragged the confused Hikaru into the booth, the same place that Gloria led him to yesterday. I was shocked to find out this morning that you had taken a commission. It was Gloria, wasn't it? It was more like she recommended it to me and I accepted. I wasn't expecting to deliver a letter to a big shot from the Thieves Guild. Freya heaved a deep sigh. You completed the commission, right? How did you do it? It was just a simple delivery. Gloria wouldn't give you a simple commission. There had to be a catch. Seeing as it went well, you must be extremely lucky. Hikaru's stealth skill was being chalked up to pure luck, which was good for him. I think you should stay away from Gloria, Freya said. What? It's hard to tell what goes on in her mind sometimes. Hikaru was surprised. He didn't know Freya could be so direct. And she wasn't talking about just anyone. It was her colleague. She looks slow and timid, but maybe she's actually strong-willed. He was genuinely happy that she cared so much for him. Okay then, I'll follow your advice, he said. Thank you. Let me show you the perfect commissions for you. Perfect for me? Freya took out a bunch of commission forms. Cleaning commission, shopping for the church, roof repair, coal replenishment for a blacksmith, chat with the elderly. Hikaru turned them all down. No thanks. What? These are important commissions that benefit the town. I want to make money efficiently. Freya hung her head down like a scolded puppy. Please don't give me that look, Hikaru said. It's not fair. I didn't think you were the type to want to become rich. Not really. I just don't have any fixed source of income. Right, sorry. There's actually a lucrative commission that you can take. Really? Freya showed a different form. Monster Hunter. Permanent. Red-horned rabbit. It doesn't matter how many, just supply them. Reward. Base reward, 0 Gilins, 10,000 Gilins for each rabbit. Permanent quests are always ongoing so you can take them any time, she said. Red-horned rabbits are fast, but they're not scary. You can kill them with only a knife. This much reward for something that easy? Yes, that's how difficult it is to catch a red-horned rabbit. You can look up the details in the library, but it's best if you assume that you can't catch any. You're lucky if you catch one in 10 days. In fact, it's not uncommon to not catch anything in 30 days. You should check some of the permanent commissions and see if you can complete any of them. I see. Thank you. Don't mention it. Oh, the line's getting long. I'd better get back. Be careful out there. Nothing wrong with being terrified. In fact, a dose of fear should be good for you. Under no circumstances should you camp outside of town. The gates close at dusk, so make sure you return early. Got it? Yeah. Listen to your big sister, okay? Freya said, then went back to the counter. Big sister, huh? Hikaru laughed dryly. She was the same age as Hazuki. Acting like a big sister actually made her seem younger. Hikaru noticed the gazes on him. Upon entering the library, Hikaru stood as close to the wall as possible. He checked the lobby using life detection. One of the adventurers who had been glaring at him was just outside the door. What the hell is he doing in the library? Beats me. I can't wait for him to come out so we can socialize with him. If by socialize you mean beating him to a pulp, then yes, it's his fault for getting all chummy with my girls. Huh? Freya is mine. What? They'd been glaring at Hikaru because the receptionists were treating him well, and that pissed them off. So childish. And a bunch of idiots. They actually think they can pick on me that easily, huh? If that's what you want, I got a few tricks up my sleeve. Hikaru used life detection to gauge the distance. They were just barely within the 5-meter radius. He booted up a soul board. Zelnenko Rigolo. Age, 22 vertical bar rank, 11 vertical bar 18, vitality, natural recovery, 1 stamina, 2 immunity, magic resistance, 0 disease immunity, 1 toxin immunity, 0 perception. Oh, he has his immunity unlocked, I see. So it's immunity to magic spells, disease, and poison. He wanted to check the details, but he couldn't bring up the descriptions. Perhaps because it wasn't his own soul board. Whatever. They're pretty self-explanatory. The only additional info I'd get is the maximum points that could be allocated. All right, let's check out the other boards. There was nothing noteworthy under magical power and agility. Instinct and the hexagon board weren't unlocked either. Strength. Muscle strength. 3 weapon mastery. Sword. 1 great sword. 0 short sword. 0 short spear. 0 long spear. 0 bow. 0 projectile. 0 shield. 1 armor. 1. So there are 9 different weapons under weapon mastery. But what about axes or clubs? What's the basis for having these weapons on the soul board? I don't have enough info right now. Next was the pentagon, one that Hikaru had not unlocked yet. Dexterity. 1. Tool mastery. So the name of the board is dexterity. Tool mastery has to be unlocked first. It's not combat related. Going by RPGs, I guess it has something to do with manufacturing, though it sounds like dexterity affects weapon handling as well. The man had used up 2 points under agility, so that's a total of 15 points used, and he has 18 points left, so that confirms it. Age plus rank equals total points available. Roland didn't have knowledge about soul boards, which means it's not something a normal human being can access. So that begs the question, how did this Zelnenko guy allocate his points? No, that's not it. Freya would have told me something, and Gloria only asked me about my blessing. The owner themselves allocates the points without them noticing? Or it was the other way around. By achieving a certain level of proficiency, points get automatically allocated. That sounds more likely, like a bonus for those who train hard. Man, this ability is broken. Allocating points freely means I gain skills without doing any training. Hikaru took a small breath. Everything made sense so far. Soul boards existed, but no one was aware of them. Hikaru could access them, and there was probably only a select few who could do the same. Or maybe none at all. Age plus soul rank equaled total points available. Points could not be allocated intentionally, only automatically at some point. All good so far. So, what did you want to do to me again, Zelnenko? If you want to pick a fight, I'll gladly oblige. Hikaru could allocate others' soul board points freely. Now, normally, that would be favorable for the owner. So far, he had not found any stat that was unfavorable. But what if he used the points to just unlock stats? It wouldn't result into anything. Hikaru also wanted to know what other stats and skills were there on the soul board. Unlock soul board, consume 1 point. Zelnenko and friends, I hope you don't mind if I use your remaining points to unlock stats. Thank you for your cooperation. Smiling, Hikaru unlocked the hexagon board. Willpower, mental strength, 0, faith, charisma, 0, appeal, 0, oh, willpower. With this, the list is complete. 0 for both charisma and appeal. Huh? Why is that? No, wait. The soul board merely provides a little extra. I have 0 points in muscle strength, but it's not like I have no muscles. The points from the soul board are simply added bonus. Hikaru proceeded to unlock everything: vitality, natural recovery, 0 stamina, 0 immunity, magic resistance, 0 disease immunity, 0 toxin immunity, 0 perception, sight, 0 hearing, 0 smell, 0 taste, 0 touch, 0 magical power, mana capacity, 0 spirit affinity, fire, 0 air, 0 earth, 0 water, 0 spell creation, 0 strength, muscle strength, 0 weapon mastery, sword, 0 greatsword, 0 short sword, 0 short spear, 0 long spear, 0 bow, 0 projectile, 0 shield, 0 armor, 0 agility, flexibility, 0 balance, 0 stealth life cloaking, mana cloaking, imperceptibility, dexterity, 0 tool mastery, axe, 0 loom, 0 pottery, 0 musica L instrument, 0 willpower, mental strength, 0 faith, holy, 0 evil, 0 charisma, 0 appeal, 0 instinct, 0 insight, invention, 0 fine arts, 0 music, 0 intelligence, computation, 0 language comprehension, 0 language output, 0 memory, 0 detection, life, detectio 0, mana detection. 0 Hikaru found out that Zelnenko's 2 other friends had basically the same number of points allocated to their respective soul boards. The highest they had was only 1 point. Since ordinary adventurers only had this level of skills, maxing out a stat was probably not something normal. I now know all the primary stats. Next would be to check how many of those derivative skills, for example, assassination and sharpshooter, there are. Unfortunately, I can't study them. In order to check, he had to allocate points to the stats of the men who despised him. I don't really need the information right now. If I bump into someone skilled, I'll just check their soul board. Hikaru nodded to himself. He then reviewed the information he needed in the library. He came here to gather information on the red-horned rabbit in the first place. He's still in there. I'm getting sleepy. The men were still waiting for Hikaru outside. After leaving the Adventurers Guild, Hikaru bought a sandwich worth 30 gilans from a food stall. He filled his flask with water, and he was good to go. Several gazes followed him behind. There he goes. He took a commission, so he must be headed out of town. Better if we get to him outside, then. Good idea. We don't want the guards on our ass. They were fans of Freya and Gloria. What should have been 3 people, Zelnenko and his friends, had now grown to 6. They were following Hikaru from a distance. They were so bad at tailing that an ordinary person would have noticed them right away. Hikaru noticed them, of course, but chose to ignore them. Out for a commission again today, said the gatekeeper. It was the same man from when he went out to gather glimmering poisonous herbs. Yeah, be careful out there. Remember, there's no such thing as being too cautious. You're an adventurer, not a soldier like me. Being scared is not a bad thing. Thank you. What a great guy, Hikaru thought as he exited the town. He looked around. Last time he was too hungry to do so. Just outside the gate was a horse bus station. There were different races there, not just humans. Demi-humans, elves. There were also travelers and merchants. Past the station were several inns and farmhouses, shabby wooden structures unlike the ones inside the town. But behind them were wide fields that the families had cultivated. Being unfortunate didn't stop them from living strong. As he went farther, the number of houses dwindled until he was face to face with Mother Nature. The road before him seemed to stretch for miles and miles, all the way to the blue mountaintops looming in the distance. Grass on meadows rippled like silver waves in the breeze, revealing the paths of the wind that blew past. A creek flowed softly nearby. Birds soared high up in the sky, singing. And so it begins! Hikaru was getting a tad bit excited, and behind him were 6 adventurers. All right, let's surround the kid. Huh? They couldn't believe their eyes. They thought Hikaru hid behind a tall bush, but upon checking, he was gone. No one could sense Hikaru once he had his stealth on and his blessing set to stealth god, bearer of darkness. There wasn't anyone in Pond, no, the whole kingdom of Ponsonia who could. Unbeknownst to Hikaru, there was someone worried about him. the gatekeeper. Right after the boy left, 6 adventurers also went out, as if in pursuit of him. "Excuse me," the gatekeeper called to a fellow guard stationed at the gate. "Can you come with me for a bit? There's something I want to check. It'll only take 15 minutes. His hunch was right. Just up ahead, he spotted 6 adventurers making a racket. "Hey, he's not here! Where'd that brat go? He couldn't possibly disappear in such a short time. Why the hell didn't you keep your eyes on him?" "I could say the same to you." Disturbing words. The gatekeeper approached them warily. "What's with all the ruckus?" the man asked. "I heard what you guys said. Did you need anything from the kid that left town just now? Why didn't you talk to him in town?" What? Guards? "I need you guys to come with me to the station." There's no need for that. It's really nothing, right?" Yeah, nothing wrong here." "Come with me to the station. That's an order," the gatekeeper said firmly. The adventurers shrank back and were taken away. "What? You wanted to teach him a lesson because the receptionists liked him? For goodness sake, you're grown men. This is exactly why women don't give you the time of day." A short time later, they received a good talking to, surrounded by muscular soldiers, who also informed the Adventurers Guild of the incident. "What?" Freya now had one more reason to be worried. Hikaru, completely unaware of all the commotion, wandered through the meadows. He was certain that he had given the adventurers a slip. "Red-horned rabbits live near town. They're an unusual bunch, as there's fewer and fewer of them as you go farther out. But then again, there are no ferocious monsters near town, so it's easier for them to breed." That was the information he got from the library earlier. Apparently, they're difficult to hunt. As to why, Hikaru spotted his target some distance away, behind some bushes. It was fairly big for a rabbit, about the size of a cardboard box for oranges. On its head was a bright red horn, a red-horned rabbit. The longer the horns, the more valuable they were. But most of them snapped off over the course of their lives. In fact, the one Hikaru spotted had a broken horn. It was less than 100 meters away. Hikaru turned off his stealth and blessing. Abruptly, the red-horned rabbit raised its head and looked around restlessly. "So it can notice me even from this distance." Hikaru turned his stealth back on and moved closer. The red-horned rabbit was unaware of his approach. The creature seemed to have forgotten its discomfort as it shoved its face back into the ground. When he was about 30 meters away, the red-horned rabbit raised its head once more, but this time it looked straight at Hikaru's direction, then immediately fled at a ridiculous speed. "Literally ran like a scared rabbit," he mumbled. "No, wait. What am I saying? So 30 meters is the limit of my stealth. I was quite confident with my skill, too. It's rough going against a monster that specializes in anti-stealth." Hikaru let out a low groan. "Wait a sec. That rabbit clearly saw me. It knew which direction I was in. The only explanation for that is it had either life or mana detection. I have 1 point each on life cloaking and mana cloaking, so it had a means to pierce through both. All right, next we try with my blessing on." It took 15 minutes for him to find another red-horned rabbit. He'd already switched his blessing to Stealth God, Bearer of Darkness. Seriously? He approached the creature through its blind spot, so it might have played a part. At his feet was a rabbit, about 60 centimeters in length, its face pressed onto the ground. It lifted its head from time to time, chewing on food. It was in the middle of its meal. Just switching blessings allowed him to get this close. The creature he spotted this time still had its horn intact, a rare find. "Time to kill it, I guess." The creature did not hear him. Hikaru gripped his dagger of strength tightly. He was about to kill a living creature. He left town, fully prepared, but he couldn't stop the blade from shaking. "This is stupid. I've already killed a man, and yet here I am, hesitating to kill an animal." Morgstadt deserved to die. Roland's desire for revenge gave him the push, too. But the red-horned rabbit did nothing to him. I know. It was like how meat sold at a supermarket wouldn't bother him, but he might feel sorry for the animals if he went to a slaughterhouse. He understood his sentiment. Man, I'm really stupid. He put his hands together, knowing it was pointless. There was no Buddha in this world, but he wanted to do it anyway. In one motion, he plunged the dagger through the red-horned rabbit's back, all the way to its heart. He felt no resistance as the blade took its life away. It must be the effect of the assassination skill. The red-horned rabbit shuddered, then went limp. Blood seeped into the ground. Hikaru's knees went weak all the way to his feet, but he braced himself. He pulled the dagger out, then put his hands together once more. After killing the creature, the rest was quick. Hikaru hung the corpse by a creek to drain the blood, then cut its belly open to remove the innards. According to the information he gathered from the library, doing this would make it lighter and make the meat tastier. The heart and its 2 kidneys could be sold at high prices, though, so he left those. He then tossed the corpse into a bag he had bought for his daily needs. Made out of raw materials from a monster, the bag resembled plastic and could be washed as is. After rinsing his hand with soap, he headed back to town. It was lunchtime, but he didn't have the appetite to eat his sandwich. When Hikaru got to the gate, the gatekeeper, for some reason, tapped his shoulders and nodded. "What is it?" Hikaru asked. "Go to the Adventurers Guild." He wondered if something happened while he was gone. But before he could ask, the guard gave him a push from behind. Utterly confused, he headed straight to the guild, which was his plan all along anyway. "Hika!" When he returned, Freya and Gloria were both at the counter. Freya was about to dash toward Hikaru, but after casting a sidelong glance at Gloria, she froze. She then returned to dealing with the adventurers like nothing happened. She kept shooting glances at Hikaru, though. He understood what she was trying to say with those eyes. "Over here. Come here. Don't go over to Gloria. Understood?" The eyes could speak 1,000 words. What in the world happened? As always, adventurers were clustered around the 2 women, hitting on them. Are these guys really adventurers? Don't they have anything better to do? Hikaru waited for work to settle down a bit before slipping into the front. "I'm here to deliver. You've come at the most opportune time, Adventurer Hikaru. I want to talk to you in the booth." "What?" "I want to talk to you in the booth. I want to talk to you in the booth." After repeating it 3 times, Freya sauntered toward the booth. Hikaru could feel the men's icy glares boring into him. Man, what a pain. I don't want people remembering my face. Maybe I should buy a mask. He seriously considered the idea. Upon entering the booth, Hikaru found Freya with her head low, both hands on the table. "I'm sorry," she exclaimed. The adventurers wondered what was going on. Hikaru was just as clueless as they were. These adventurers really don't have anything better to do. And Gloria keeps stealing glances while working. After calming himself down, Hikaru said, "I'm not sure why you're apologizing. You might have not noticed, but you were actually tailed by adventurers. 6 of them. I see. They're, my fans, apparently. They thought I was giving you preferential treatment, so they wanted to harass you. I was aware, so what about it?" "What? What about it?" "You knew." "I did. I mean, it was too obvious. I hate to say it, but I think the adventurers here are a little too incompetent." That's not true. Zelnenko is known for being skilled for his young age. He's still only rank E, but people expect great things from him in the future." Hikaru blinked. "What? That guy?" If I recall correctly, he had 1 point on his sword mastery. Is 1 point actually fairly strong? "He has a blessing called One-Handed Sword Technician God 5, Technical Swordsman." "Ah, I see. So he has a good blessing. But it's a 5-character blessing, isn't it?" "Yes, he's cut out to be a fighter." "So 5-character blessings are enough to make yourself notable. I shouldn't tell anyone about my blessings and the soul board." Hikaru had 2-character blessings. "Hikaru? What's wrong?" Nothing. Oh, I get it. You're scared. Of course. You're scared because a skilled adventurer with a 5-character blessing has his eyes on you. But rest assured, they received a warning from the guards for their unbecoming behavior, and they'll be under surveillance for a while." Freya puffed out her chest. Her moderately sized yet well-rounded breasts bounced. Hikaru looked away.
Okay then. Thank you,
he said. He wasn't actually the least bit scared. He just let Freya believe what she wanted to believe. The adventurers weren't exactly a threat to him, but it felt good knowing someone was worried about him and even protected him. Should I give the guard a box of cakes? Going by Roland's memories, this world also has a custom of giving something as gratitude. Hikaru set the idea aside for now. I have business with you as well, Hikaru said. Can you assess something for me? Yes, of course. What do you have for me? Oh, we won't be needing glimmering poisonous herbs for a while. Freya stared blankly at him. A red-horned rabbit. I can't believe you would lie to me. You're breaking my heart.
Well, that was quick. I only got one, though.
Hikaru opened the bag he had by his foot and showed it to her. The smell of blood and game drifted from within. Hikaru! Freya was astonished. You really are one lucky guy. Freya assumed that Hikaru got a red-horned rabbit out of pure luck. Hikaru didn't really mind, so he didn't deny it. An expert would assess the value of the red-horned rabbit, not Freya. She rang a bell, and an old man emerged from a room inside. His hair was long and gray all over, with a bun on top. The rest he left hanging. His mustache met with his beard, making his head look like a lump of gray hair. About 150 centimeters tall, he was half a head shorter than Hikaru. A gnome, Hikaru muttered. Sir Unken is from a race called man-gnomes, Freya whispered. Don't bring it up or he'll get mad. What do you want, Freya? I'm busy. We have visitors from the royal capital coming soon. Right. But you said you wanted to assess red-horned rabbits yourself. Unken's gaze rested on Hikaru for the first time. Oh. He carefully examined Hikaru from head to toe, then turned around and headed to the back. He wanted him to follow. Parting ways with Freya, Hikaru went down the corridor and found himself outside. There was an outhouse before him where animals were butchered. It looked like a huge garage. While only made of wood, well-constructed beams secured the enormous structure. Chains with hooks dangled down from the naked beams where large monsters were hung to be chopped. Take it out, Unken said. Hikaru placed the red-horned rabbit on the stone table. While Unken was inspecting the animal, Hikaru summoned the man's soul board. He was curious about the way he carried himself so warily earlier, and his hunch was right. Soul board. Unken F. Balzac age, 211 vertical bar rank, 51 vertical bar, 53 vitality, natural recovery, 2 stamina, 5 immunity, Magi C resistance, 1 perception, smell, 1 tosti, 2 magical power, mana capacity, 6 strength, muscle strength, 9 weapon mastery, short sword, 6 bow, 3 projectile, 4 armor, 2 agility, stealth, life cloaking, 2 mana cloaking, 2 imperceptibility, 2 group cloaking, 1 dexterity, 3 tool mastery, pottery, 2 willpower, mental strength, 3 instinct, 4 detection, life detection, 1. What? Hikaru blurted out. What do you mean, what? No, it's nothing. Did you do something just now? I felt some sort of sorcery being invoked. Unken eyed Hikaru suspiciously, then turned his attention back to the red-horned rabbit. That was close. Did he notice me studying his soul board? But anyway, this geezer's unbelievable, and he has a stealth-type skill that I don't. Group cloaking, was it? Hold on a sec. Something's not right with his remaining points. Hikaru carefully made some calculations. Unken had allocated a total of 68 points to his stats. Add that to his remaining 53 points, you get a total of 121 points. His rank was astonishing, but his age of 211 was even more remarkable. If one gained 1 point per year, then his remaining points were way off. It must be 1/3 then. 211 divided by 3 is around 70. 70 plus his rank of 51 gives a total of 121. The figures add up. Some races in this world have shorter lifespans while some have longer. So the timing of gaining points is different for each of them. It felt like the wrong things were being balanced. So group cloaking. Unlocking it must require 2 points each on life cloaking, mana cloaking, and imperceptibility. This guy has almost the same skill set as me. A rogue type. Hikaru wanted to know what people thought about Unken's abilities. Unlike Hikaru, who had put most of his points into one specific skill set, the old man only had a few points for each. But it looked like he had the necessary skills for a rogue-type character. Hikaru wanted to know how strong Unken was in this world's standards. Lad. Yes. Is it fun staring at me like that? Hikaru gave a start. Is this his 4 points on instinct at work? That probably explained his earlier remark about some sorcery being invoked. Unlike magic, sorcery referred to the use of some kind of catalyst or tool to bring about supernatural phenomena. The spell for crossing worlds that Roland was researching fell under this classification. It's just that I haven't seen you in the guild before, Hikaru said. Fair enough. What do you usually do? That's none of your business. Judging from Freya's behavior, the guildmaster perhaps? I'm just an assessor. Hikaru had managed to change the subject. Unken didn't question him further. The old man himself seemed to dislike being probed. Anyway, about the red-horned rabbit. You've never butchered meat before, have you? Unken asked. No. The way you cut it is awful. What did you use? Hikaru took out his dagger of strength. Unken stared at it, then heaved a sigh. You fool. You don't use a weapon for cutting meat. Use a proper tool for it. You cut the flesh when you removed its internal organs. Look here. Blood seeping into the meat ruins its flavor. I see. The way you cut open its belly is also horrible. It will be worth more if you could bring it whole instead, provided you can make it back in town in 2 to 3 hours. Unken glanced at Hikaru. Then again, with those muscles of yours, I don't think that's possible. Yeah, just one was already quite heavy. You make it sound like you could catch as many as you want if you could carry them. Hikaru shrugged. Youngsters tend to be overconfident. I'm not saying you shouldn't be proud of your catch, but you must never forget to be humble. I understand. Unken gave him a dubious look. I'd tell you to form a party with others, but then you won't be able to capitalize on your strength. You look skilled in moving unnoticed. I am. I must say, it's quite strange. Red-horned rabbits have exceedingly keen senses. You're wearing nightwolf gear, correct? Yet it should have still noticed you. The rabbit ran and tripped over a stump. What? That's how I was able to kill it. Hikaru gave an ambiguous answer. A lie. He didn't think this world had the story about a rabbit that tripped over a tree stump and died. So you're saying you just got lucky? Yes. Even if it wasn't, I don't think it's okay to probe into an adventurer's special skills. But I suppose the guildmaster would want to know, huh? Are you trying to bait me? Damn, he got me. That's a 211-year-old geezer for you. So, about the rabbit, Unken went on. There's a cut on its right hind leg, so its value as meat is lower. A shame. It's the most delicious part, too. We can buy the meat for 7,000 galons. Deal. Oh, you're not complaining? I did a poor job cutting the meat, after all. I usually expect some grumbling. That's a complete waste of time, and time is something money can't buy. Why are you in such a rush? I probably won't be if I could live for 200 years like a man-gnome. Unken glowered at him. He went a little bit too far. For a rabbit that tripped, its body is spotless. Don't you want to know the price of its hide? The old man asked. Unken knew he was lying, and he was trying to get even. They don't fetch for much, do they? I suppose not. Around 500 gilans. I'll add it to the overall price. Okay, and? And what? The price of the horn. For the first time, Unken smiled, though it was more like the corner of his mouth turned up just a little bit. So you know about that. I read about it in the library. Red-horned rabbits with unbroken horns are rare, and their horns have medicinal effects. I thought you were simply a despicable kid, but I guess not. You actually do your homework. I thought you don't want to waste time. I like studying. I think calling a studious kid arrogant is equivalent to spitting on the benefits derived from the advancement of civilization. Spoken like an arrogant kid. Ha ha ha! Unken burst out laughing. If you don't mind, I can teach you how to cut meat properly in my free time. Come tomorrow evening. Okay, thank you. All right, bye. Unken raised a hand and turned to leave. Wait, hold on a sec. You haven't assessed the horn yet. And here I thought I managed to trick you. Damned geezer, Hikaru thought, his cheek twitching. Unken looked at the horn, groaning. A horn as fine as this is rare. There's actually no market value for it. I would have to contact the Alchemists Guild and the Doctors Guild first. You'll know tomorrow evening. I'll give the overall payment then. All right. Man, I'd appreciate it if you didn't try to play me. Says the kid who lied by bringing up an old story of a rabbit that tripped on a tree stump. Hikaru was shocked that Unken knew about the story of the rabbit. It wasn't as if he knew the exact details, but he was familiar with it. He asked the old man about it, and he said he heard it from his elders back in his hometown. He was only a child back then, too. There's a chance that someone was reincarnated to this world just like me. It was a surprising revelation, yet there was always that possibility. Hikaru was brought here by Roland's genius. He used a world-crossing spell, one he developed by studying other people's research. In other words, this research had been done ages ago. I guess there's really no need to find others like me, though. Hikaru doubted they could use the soul board like him. After all, he only obtained the ability through chance after receiving a pouch that contained light right before he was judged. Now then, what to do? He didn't feel like going out of town again today. Eating his sandwich at a rest area by the main street, Hikaru pondered his next move. Besides him, there were housewives who were in the middle of shopping, talking to each other, an errand boy taking a nap, among others. I want to know more about this world. Roland's knowledge is limited to things related to the nobility. But before that, he stuffed the last piece of his sandwich into his mouth and stood up. Let's find a different place to stay. Hikaru longed for an actual mattress. While an inn with a master, a hostess, and a poster girl was enticing, Hikaru shut the idea out of his mind. He probably wasn't going to stay in town for that long. Building relationships with others would only make it harder to leave. It would dull his judgment. He'd already gotten quite deeply involved with Freya, but there was nothing he could do about that since she worked at the Adventurers Guild. So he wound up at a budget hotel. It was a 5-story building that looked like a matchbox. Every room was exactly the same, with only a bedroom. In this world, a 5-story establishment was actually considered high class. Plus, he had his own private room. The hotel also had a sauna, although for common use. It cost 1,000 gilens a night, 10 times the rate of the beginner adventurer's inn he stayed at before. Are you really staying here, sir? On the first floor's reception desk was a woman wearing a uniform. She eyed Hikaru suspiciously, or rather with great interest. A cat girl, straight out of a fantasy world. Cat ears were twitching on top of her head. Her fluffy, light green hair hung softly down her back in a ponytail. 1,000 gilens per night, right? 3 nights for now. Hikaru took out 3,000 gilens. Blinking repeatedly, the cat girl accepted the payment. Her ears twitched with her every motion. I've read a novel with a protagonist that was so obsessed with cat ears. How could he be so hung up on them? Had he not touched a cat before in his life? You must be quite loaded, sir. Those are some nice clothes. Really? I'm glad you like it. Dodorono would surely love to hear that as well. I do. So there are a few things to keep in mind in this hotel. You have your own room and it's soundproof. You may bring a woman over, but she can't stay for the night, okay? Come again? Oh, I apologize, sir. Do you prefer bringing men? No. How did she even arrive at that conclusion? Do most guests stay here for that? Hikaru asked. Yes, isn't that usually the case? Sorry, I don't really know what passes as usual around here, this world. Guests invite me too, you know. What? For real? You can invite the cat girl receptionist? Is that even allowed? His heart leapt. It was hard to believe he was the same guy who was questioning the obsession with cat girls just a moment ago. I turned them down, of course. The woman laughed. You seem flustered, sir. I'm not. Hikaru calmed his heart down. It's not right to pay money for it. Not at all. Plus, I want my first to have me as her first as well. It's not because I don't want my partner to find out I don't have any experience. Yup, definitely not. I just prefer it that way. But the cat girl leaned forward and whispered into his ears.
I might gladly say yes if you invited me.
His heart jumped once more. Needless to say, she was only teasing him. Hikaru left his belongings in the hotel room and went back out. The sun was still high up in the sky. The cat girl at the front desk waved at him as he left, wishing him a good day. He swore to himself never to let his guard down around her. He was headed for the temple. The gods on his guild card, assassination god, stealth god, how many of them were there? He wanted an answer to that simple question. Roland's memories didn't provide much information on the matter. Roland's blessing was Wide Area Noble Blood Relief God 7, Noblesse. Most young nobles had it, apparently. In fact, if they didn't have it, they got suspected of being a bastard born out of wedlock. The temple was located in the center of town. The closer to the temple, the more crowded the streets. There were more shops as well. The temple was a tall, dome-shaped structure that could be entered from any direction. Stone was used for its foundation, steel for the frames, and wood for the rest. Overall, a unique construction. Several huge windows featured fretworks of various deities. Whoa! As soon as he stepped inside, Hikaru saw a towering 5-meter-tall stone sculpture of a god. It was facing sideways, wearing a robe, holding a pen in its right hand and a crystal ball in its left. Hikaru found it quite curious. The sign said, Wisdom God. A preacher was standing next to it. It is said that the soul card was created by a researcher who was blessed by the Wisdom God, the preacher explained. It was such a powerful blessing that even now we still don't know how the card works. Unfortunately, the researcher passed away after he finished creating the soul card system. Hikaru had wondered how the cards were so futuristic. A Wisdom God blessing was behind its creation. It all happened a long time ago, the preacher said. Towering beside the Wisdom God was the Sun God, with the martial arts god next to it. A preacher was standing in front of each, but what caught Hikaru's attention were the weapons carved beside the martial arts god. A sword, greatsword, short spear, long spear, bow, throwing knife, shield, and armor. 9 kinds. They were exactly the same weapons under the Soul Board's weapon mastery skill tree. This could not be a mere coincidence. The preacher's talk was mostly aimed towards practitioners of martial arts. To put it short, his message was along the lines of, if you put your heart into it, the martial arts god will be watching over you, so work hard. Muscular soldiers and adventurers listened intently to his speech. Hikaru didn't get anything he wanted to know, so he waited until the preacher wasn't too occupied before approaching him.
Hello there, young man. Is there something you want to ask me?
The preacher welcomed Hikaru with a big smile. It was apparent that not a lot of lanky boys came to visit the temple.
I want to ask about the 9 weapons,
Hikaru said. The preacher gave a small laugh. You want to know about the 9 dogmas of the martial arts god? Tell me, young man, which dogma are you studying? 9 dogmas? The preacher laughed again. So we have to start from there. The 9 dogmas refer to the 9 weapons that the martial arts god prescribed after he mastered the art of fighting. Prescribed? Prescribed that these 9 weapons were the standard and the rest were unorthodox? The other weapons were not really excluded, but they might as well have been. As you may already know, the martial arts schools in this town specialize in any of these 9 weapons.
Right.
Here in Pond, there are branches of the Raybrigg Swordsmanship School, which the Sword St. Lawrence attended, and the Celestial Spearmanship School, the best training institution for the long spear in the whole continent. Sword Saint? Is that a blessing? No, it's what people call him. Mr. Lawrence's skill with the greatsword is said to be unmatched in the whole continent. Hikaru changed his question. What if you used a weapon that doesn't belong to the 9 kinds? Do you not get any blessing at all? Like, say, if your primary weapon is an axe. A good question. While I have only limited knowledge, I have never heard of any blessing related to weapons outside of the 9 kinds being manifested. I see. One last question, then. What basis did the martial arts god have in choosing those 9 weapons? The preacher laughed once more. There's no rhyme or reason to what a god does. There's only the outcome. That was quite deep, Hikaru thought. Hikaru went around the whole place to find that only 1 or 2 character gods were being worshipped in the temple. There was a billboard that told how the world was created, but it was accompanied by a proviso that said there were various theories about it. As to this world's underlying structure, there were only speculations. But I'm pretty sure gods exist here. The blessings are proof of that. Hikaru learned that the blessing shown on a guild card was the owner's way of saying that they worshipped that particular god. It wasn't that the card invoked the blessing, but rather it was an instrument for the owner's voice to reach the god. As a result, their abilities received a boost. In Hikaru's case, his stealth. Gods, however, don't have any will. They simply manage the world's rules. I'm really curious about the being, the god, who created this whole system. Right when Hikaru turned to leave the temple, he overheard a conversation.
Really? The case is settled?
Apparently, which means we're fired too. This is ridiculous. They seriously call that an investigation? The 2 men were just leaving the temple. Their voices sounded familiar. The knights on patrol at Count Morgstadt's manor. Hikaru ended up following them. He wanted to know what happened after that.
The first to discover the body is the culprit? You can't just jump to conclusions like that.
Keep it down, you idiot. Others might hear.
They'll know soon anyway. They killed a big shot.
Hikaru couldn't believe his ears. What? They caught the culprit? Judging by their conversation, I think they're talking about Count Morgstadt's murderer. The actual culprit was right here. Wait, did he say first to discover the body? The first person to arrive after Morgstadt was killed. That girl. The pearly-skinned girl with the silver hair and blue eyes. Hikaru recalled how she looked incredibly thin. Maybe it was her nightclothes. She's being pinned for the murder? No way. Hikaru's knees went weak. The girl became his scapegoat. What do I do? What do I do? Murderers probably get executed in this world. The girl who helped him escape would be arrested and executed for a crime she did not commit. This is unacceptable. Hikaru made a decision. I will save her.